Good morning and welcome to Inside Texas Politics. We begin with a state representative from Carrollton and what more the state could or should be doing to help the Gulf Coast recover. Bud Kennedy is off this Sunday and Ross Ramsey is in our Dallas studio. Gentlemen, thanks for being in here. We appreciate it.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Jason.
Let's start with those ideas you've shared with the governor, Ron. The governor and the speaker. What did you share with them? What's their reaction to it?
Well, what I've shared with them, and I think they realize this, is that we've got over 1 million homes that have some type of damage down there. And so that means we've displaced a lot of Texans, and they need to get those homes repaired for two reasons. One, they need to get back in the homes, not just temporary housing. And secondly, that affects the revenue for those local jurisdictions down there. If we don't get those homes repaired, there's going to have to be reappraisals, and that's going to really hurt the revenue. So what I've suggested is that we take a look at, if we need to, and that is setting up an additional state infrastructure bank, and then issuing bonds that could be used to either back up loans that would need to be made through other banks or actually do the loans directly themselves but processed by banks, especially for those places where someone has a home that if they needed to do some repairs, that would put them above the 80% loan to market value, and so they couldn't get a traditional loan. That's the type of things we need to do in Texas, and we would get paid back. It wouldn't be a grant, it would be a loan.
Your former colleague, Sylvester Turner, who's now the mayor down there, wanted the governor to tap the rainy day fund to help pay for this. Why isn't that a good idea?
Well, and I think, first of all, I'm not sure that that's would be enough, even if you used it all. But secondly, I believe that the rainy day fund will be more used to bring back into line state agency budgets, and I think we'll have to do some of that if we have to use the rainy day fund. Hopefully, oil and gas prices will stay above $50 a barrel, and we'll be able to have additional revenue that we weren't planning on.
You know, in a lot of the past hurricanes, Hurricane Ike, Hurricane Rita, Katrina, the federal government money has been much more important at the end of it, at the end of the accounting, than state money. Do you think that's going to be the case this time? And are you worried that the feds aren't going to come through?
No, I think the state, when you look at the ratio of it, I think the federal money will be much more. But I want also make sure that it's not just about the money; it's about the timing of the money. All right, you and I, we don't live in Houston. While we still think about it, we've gone on about our lives to other things. Right. Those people are still living that every single day, and the quicker we can get them back to normal, the better it is for them and the better it is for Texas.
Okay. Your district's 240 miles away from this. There are other colleagues of yours down there. Why is this a priority for you?
Well, it's just, I think about things in a financial way because that's my background. So when I began thinking about, okay, what can we do here, the first thing that came to me is how we've done some other things. You know, we set up a state infrastructure bank for water. We've done a lot of different things. And so because at the end of the day, it takes money to get these things done.
I want to switch off to news of the day as well, too, the Las Vegas massacre that happened last week. Would you like to see Congress ban bump stocks?
Well, I'm not an expert on bump stocks, but I definitely think I for sure think we need to look at that. That is a discussion that the Speaker of the House has, and the federal level has said we need to look at, the President said we need to look at, and I absolutely think we need to take a look at that.
Should it go any further?
No, I don't think so, but I do think that we need to have a discussion, and it shouldn't be I'm over here and you're over there. We need to have a discussion on it all and determine if there's additional things should happen. I don't think so, but I also believe that things like this make us take a step back and take a look and see what in the world do we need to do.
Do you feel a clamor at all from voters about this? I mean, we know the politicians are a little intractable on this on both sides. Mm-hmm. Whenever something like this happens, is government a solution? And are you hearing from voters or constituents who say, you guys need to do something about this?
I hear from constituents that said, hey, is there any way that we can protect ourselves without giving up our liberty? And that's a difficult equation because anytime you increase security, you automatically give up some type of freedom. And so I think people are concerned, but I also think that they're hesitant to say, hey, let's ban this or that or the other. So I'm not hearing from my voters, let's have additional, gun control. The bump stocks is a different issue.
Should the state take any action?
I'm not sure that the state would need to take any action. That's not something that we've studied at this time, and I'm sure that it'll be a question that comes up in the next legislative session.
Let's talk about House politics. Phil King is the state rep from Weatherford, one of your colleagues on the floor, who's talking about running, actually filed to run. What do you think about that, and where's he going to get support from?
Well, Phil's a good friend of mine and is a, long-term common sense conservative. I think what I'm focusing on is making sure that the Republican caucus within the caucus takes a vote, and whoever wins that caucus, whether it's Speaker Strauss, whether it's Phil King, whether it's anybody else, whoever wins that caucus vote, that we band together and vote together on the House floor. And we'll just have to see how it comes out.
The House talked about doing that once before when Ken Paxton was the House member running against Joe Strauss.
Okay.
And 15 members, including Ken Paxton, decided not to honor the caucus thing. How do you bind the caucus once you try that?
Yeah, and I'm not sure, and that's the discussion, some of the discussion that's going on. I'm not sure you certainly can't legally bind them.
Right.
The caucus could censor them or something like that. But at the end of the day, the only way you bind them is through their own voters. Yeah. And if they agree to do it and they back out of that agreement, they should be punished for that in their elections.
Is there a circumstance under which Ron Simmons would be a candidate for Speaker?
I don't have any plans to do that at this particular time, but you can never say never in politics, as you know.
Do you have higher aspirations?
I really enjoy what I'm doing, and I haven't thought about any other aspirations. I think that I've been effective, and I think that I want to continue on the common sense way that I've done it.
Let me switch back to what I asked you a moment ago, too, about Phil King. Where could he draw support from?
I think Phil, because he's been around a long time, a lot of people know him. Phil, I don't know if you've watched Phil at all on the House floor, but he's very measured, right? When there's a difficult thing to have to argue from the front or back mic, he's a good one for it. And I think what people look for in a leader is that, hey, is this person going to be, off the chart, right? And he's going to be volatile. He's very measured. He's got a long history there. I think he could draw from across the spectrum, and that could be Democrats and Republicans as well. Obviously, his base will be the more conservative part of the caucus.
Final thoughts. Anybody else getting in, you think? Into that race?
It's hard to tell. It wouldn't surprise me that there wouldn't be other candidates by the time we come around to January of 19. Because there's a reason, Jason, that 10 years is the longest a speaker's ever served. There's a season for everything.
Gotcha. State Rep Ron Simmons from Carrollton, thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. Thank you, Ross. Good to see you.